Okay, more on graphing 3.2 and 3.3, graphing lines. So this is the standard equation, some number of x plus some number of y equals c. So we're going to start with this equation, 8x plus 4y equals 8, and we're going to show you the three ways of graphing this equation, one using a table, one using the intercept method, and one using the slope-intercept formula. So again, this is our equation that we're given. And the first one we're going to do is make a table. And you get to make the table. So what you're going to do is put in numbers for x and solve the corresponding value of y. So the key here is to use small numbers, such as 0, 1, and I always put a -1 in there, just so we get one positive and one negative. So when you put 0 into this equation for the x, you're going to end up with 0 plus 4y equals 8. So 4y equals 8. You divide both sides by 4, and you get y equals 2. So then the ordered pair is, when you put x as 0, you end up with y being 2. So that's an ordered pair that we can plot. If we put x as 1, we'll get 8 plus 4y equals 8, working with the side that has the variable in it, which is the left side in this case. We get rid of the addition by subtracting 8 from both sides, and we'll get 4y equals 0. When we divide both sides by 4, we will have 0 divided by 4, which is 0. So remember, 0 can be divided by a number, that's okay. It's the other way around, which we're going to see in a minute, that you cannot do. So we've got 2 points. Let's go to our third here. We put -1 in, and we'll get -8 plus 4y equals 8. We get rid of the -8 with a +8, and we have 4y's equal 16. Divide both sides by 4, and y will equal 4. So our ordered pair here is -1 for the x. We put that in, and we got 4 for the y. Now we plot those points on the graph. And we would get -1, 4, 0, 2, and 1, 0. When we connect those, we have graphed this line, 8x plus 4y equals 8. The second way we're going to do that is to use the intercept method. And let me get rid of some of this stuff. So in the intercept method, we simply let x equals 0 and solve for the y. So again, when x is 0, you'd end up with 4y equals 8. Divide both sides by 4, y will equal 2. So you notice that this has a y value. So it is the y-intercept. So intercepts always have 2 points. The y will always have x is 0 and 2. So that's the y-intercept. Now, we let y equal 0, and we solve for the x. So when y equals 0, we'd end up with 8x equals 8, x equals 1. So the y-intercept is not 1, it is 1, 0. So now we have the two intercepts. All we do is plot those. So we plot our y-intercept of 0, 2 right here, and our x-intercept of 1, 0, and connect them with a line. And it's the same line in the same location for our 8x plus 4y equals 8. It's the same equation and you get the same answers. It's just 3 different ways of doing it. And lastly, we're going to use the slope-intercept method. So the slope-intercept methods means we have to get it into this form, y equals mx plus b. So m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. That means where the line will cross the y-axis, but it's always 0 for the x and some number for the y. So first thing we have to do is to solve this equation for y. So we want to solve it for the y, so we have to get this negative x, or the 8x out of there. So we use a negative 8x, and when we do that on the left side, we have to do it on the right. So we'll get 4y equals negative 8x plus 8. You could have it this way. However, we want it so the slope is first. We want it, the x before the number. So then we divide everything by 4. And we get y equals negative 2x plus 2. So we said m is the slope. So that's negative 2. So if you get a whole number for the coefficient of the x, which is called the slope, you want to put it over 1. So then the negative 2 will tell you the amount of change in the y for every one of the x. The 2 then shows you where the y-intercept is. However, it's always 0, 2. Don't just say the y-intercept is 2. Y-intercepts and x-intercepts always have a point, 2 points, an x and a y. So we said the y-intercept is 0, 2. So that's all we need to graph. So we put our y-intercept in first. That's our 0, 2. And then we use the slope for the rest of the points. So it says from the point we know, the y-intercept, we go down 2, because this is negative. We go down 2 and over 1. And we can make as many points as we would like. And then we just connect the points. And we have graphed that line, the same line. So those are the 3 ways. We can make a table. We can use the y-intercept, or we can solve the equation for y and use the slope-intercept method. So we will come back for the rest of it because I don't want to make these too long.